to go down.
It's lovely pass, and here he turns cleverly. Can he find a finish? Oh, he can!
Some skill by Joshua, and a return right hand. Good counter right. Bullet is hurt. Second right hand. That clipped him as well. Now he goes in for the kill.
Well, Ricciardo is inching into the lead, and Ricciardo that win the Italian Grand Prix!
Ighalo running the floor.
Still leading the way with Canada in there too, with the Netherlands.
And Musa makes it 4 goals in 2 World Cup matches.
The Monaco Grand Prix! Ricciardo triumphant in Monza.
Through Bowden, Barrett, and an early touch and an excellent...
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Your host and Salifu is also here with me. Salifu, welcome to yet another exciting episode of Sports Orbit.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Afan. Exciting sport for this, but unfortunately, in Nigeria sport terrain, it's getting to happen every day. We are a country whereby one federation, 2 presidents. And just like because in the basketball yesterday, we have 2 presidents as claiming to be president of the Nigeria Basketball Federation. But I think that's why in Guinea, why Mark got in Abuja. So it's very unfortunate that no thanks to the selfish nature of our sport administrators. They are always after themselves, claiming that they want to protect the sport, and definitely they are doing more damage to Nigerian sport, and why all the still legal the players, the actors suffer. Well, welcome to Sport Orbit.
All right, for today's episode of Sports Orbit, we have a bumper package for you as always. Of course, Super Eagles are in the news as it concerns the playoff against Ghana. Tijani Babangida, ex-international, has a word or two for the Super Eagles. We also have Ighalo is also in the news, explaining why he had to make that switch from Shabab to Hilal. And of course, NTTF giving kudos to Aaron Okodri for his recent NTTF ranking, ITTF ranking rather. Then we also have some transfer news for you. That and so much more we'll give to you in the next couple of minutes on this episode of Sports Orbit. Well, we'll begin with the World Cup playoffs where Tijani Babangida has warned the Super Eagles that the match against Ghana, the Super Eagles will really need to be cautious and careful if they must come out victorious in the double header, something that we played in March. This warning is coming on the back of the recent performance at the AFCON, where the Super Eagles were knocked out by Tunisia. Of course, Tijani is saying that by now he believes the Eagles must have learned their lesson from what transpired in Tunisia. Honestly, nobody was expecting the Eagles to exit so early in the tournament, to the point that even Mo Salah has come out to say that he's still shocked that the Eagles are not in the final 4 of the competition. And ex-international Tijani Babangida is advising the Eagles, hey guys, I know right now the Ghanaians look like they're a depleted side. On paper, the Eagles are better than the Ghanaians, but you really need to be careful because in matches like this, form becomes useless. It depends on what you put out on the day.
Yeah, you quite agree. I quite agree with TJ. He has said right. He has he wear the shoe before, and you know what it pitches, you know what matters, what it means to play football. And just like say in a match like a form become useless, where it all depend on your plan and your tactic for the game. And same time, if you look, if you listen carefully and watching from the both side, there's a mind game being played already, even in the Ghanaian parliament, where one of their parliament said that there's no need to play Nigeria, and they have no team to play Nigeria. They are telling you all these things so that you beat the person even Ghanaians also they are not even shocked themselves. Why you sit down at home on your own, try to boast it that you have all the things to play. So, and I quite agree with the TG, and it's good that the advice are coming from every angle. Even yesterday, even Austin Ekwago has also cautioned the player that they know They have to put the just what happened at the account behind, and all the matter now is to focus on the playoff against Ghana. So it's a very crucial game. But it seems to me that everybody, even at home here, Nigerian the fans, even the administration and everybody, the fans, Nigerians and even the politicians are all key to what they believe against Ghana. But the only people I see that I've not heard much about the war seem to be so much concerned about the game against Ghana is the Nigerian Football Federation. I'm not seeing any action, anything concerning them about the playoff against Ghana, because if they are care about the match against Ghana and feel that it is very important to go government. So there are some certain vital decisions that ought to be taken by now. Which up to their seats, they are just sitting on it. They are trying to debate over it, and we don't have time to debate. Like the other time they said they have a meeting with the Minister of Finance, but the meeting ended in the end. None of them could have been able to reach an agreement on where to stand. So and this is not the right time to debate, because the time is not on our side. So the crucial decision has to be taken in the case as it's concerning the head coach of the team. Because if you are to stay with the Baba, let it be pronounced, and let Baba be aware that okay, he has a job in hand and he has a job to prepare the team. And if Baba is not going to be, so have to revert to the technical director job. Then let whoever is coming, the Portuguese guy who the mention is like the coming. The decision has to be taken and let him come in, so that the team can be fortified and prepare for the game, the most important game against Ghana. Just like TJ is the president of Nigeria Football Federation, Nigeria Football Players Association, and he knows what he's trying to say. So definitely, like those that they advise to me should not even go to he should go to Nigeria Football Federation, and I hope they are all listening. Because I'm aware that Nigerians on their own, even the politicians, even the Director General of the National Council of Art, in terms of tomorrow, is already mobilizing Nigerian fans, already mobilizing the supporters to support the team against the Ghana. But why other Nigerians who are not even shadow the responsibility about the team are carefully trying to mobilize Nigerians, trying to galvanize support for the EU? Those that in charge, I'm not seeing much from that. That's my major worry as concerning the next month.
Yeah. Speaking about the NFF not showing enough, how should I put it, enough seriousness as it concerns this game, one will begin to wonder, is it as a result of venue? Because clearly the Ministry of Sports has told Nigerians that the home game against the return leg will be played here in Abuja. But it seems the NFF and don't seem to be okay with that decision. Could that be a reason why they are not showing enough seriousness? Maybe in their own thinking, they'll be thinking, let's shop for a venue as usual, as they practiced in the past. Let's take this game to one of those states where we have one of those in quotes football loving governors. Exactly, because knowing that if this game will be hosted here in Abuja, usually the fanfare that goes, some of the financial, all of those things that come to them might not be available this time, and maybe they seem to be foot dragging in coming out with a decision.
I think one thing is that I remember in 2016, 2006, 2005, or the 2006 World Cup qualifier against Angola. There's this kind of a scenario like play up. Then, why the sport ministry want the match to be played in Abuja here? That the match should be played in Abuja, the national stadium. So the then chairman of the Nigeria Football Federation, Nigeria Football Association, Alaji Ibrahim Galadima, he said that the match should be taken to Kano. That was a very crucial match against Angola. So we took that match to Kano, but because of the heat weathers in Kano, the Eagles could not thrive, and we draw that match, and that ended our qualification to the World Cup because we lost away to Angola, and automatically Angola qualified, which is their first and their first ever appearance at the World Cup. So, to me, there's no point arguing over who's venue or not venue. I expect the Nigeria Football Federation and the Ministry of Sport to work in hand in hand. So, if the Nigeria Football Federation, if they have a better argument, a superior argument, I don't think the Minister of Sport should be stupid to say no, you must play in Abuja. But if you feel that their argument is superior to his own, but if the minister also feel that his own, and if they feel that the minister's argument is superior to their own, they should take it. But I agree that, and I feel like both of them they are looking they have a common interest. All they want is that for Super Eagles to play well and qualify for the World Cup, which is the common interest that all two of them have pursued. So there's no need to argue over this thing. But in the event that you want your personal gain to supersede the overall interest of the country, I don't think the ministers will agree to that. So the Abuja National Stadium, well, I am not a footballer, I'm not a coach, but from a layman view and from by being a sport journalist for many years, from what I've seen Abuja, I think most of the stadium I've seen Abuja, the Abuja pitch I've seen, I don't think we have any other pitch in this country at the moment. I don't think we have any football. I stand to be corrected, but in my opinion, I don't think we have any football pitch at the moment in Nigeria that can be say is better off than what we have at the main pitch of Abuja National Stadium. So if we are to play in Abuja, I don't see why. If it's not for football reason, I see no reason why the Nigerian Football Federation should kick against it. But except if there's any other reason towards it, that is the only way I can say, okay, they should convince the minister that we don't need to play this match in Abuja. But if for football reason and for the sake of the pitch, Abuja National Stadium, the pitch is as good as anything to go on to hold that match.
All right, away from that, still on a Super Eagles striker at this point, Odion Ighalo has come out to say that he actually was stopped from coming to the AFCON by Shabab, and that is one of in fact, the major reason why he had to leave the club for their city rivals out here. He said, contrary to speculation where Al Shabab are even saying that there was a clause in his contract, he said there was nothing like that. They were just coming up with different excuses. I mean, from what he said, he said 4 hours to take off time for him to land in Abuja and join up with his colleagues. They applied some delay tactics. He needed something called an exit visa from Saudi Arabia, and it was delayed until Al Shabaab came out to tell him that you can't travel. We got your mail late. And he also said it was stated in the earlier mail where he was released to play in the last World Cup qualifier. He said everything was stated in that mail that moving forward we'll be needing him for national team service. So, but Al Shabaab pretended as if that mail never existed, and he said that was what it got to a point that he even refused to train, refused to speak to anyone at the club, and he knew that it was time for him to leave the club.
Well, I salute his patriotism and at the same time, patriotism. It's very rare to have such a person that who know that his interest is particularly is called national team surpassing every other thing. Because if you look at it here, Igalo has demonstrated that he's committed to serve this country. Because what he has done, he has put the country ahead of his own personal interest. Because what the club he pay, that is why he earns his living, and that's why he earns his pay. But he feels that honoring his country call, because there are over 200 million Nigerians. It is a really honor and it's a really privilege that out of 200 million Nigerians, and the whole nation will now decide to choose you, call you to come and represent them. It's a great honor, and I thank God that he didn't take that privilege for granted. We have many players, many Nigerian youth who can play this game, but among all the millions of Nigerian youth, but the country still feel that he still needs to represent the country. And I thank God that he didn't take that for granted. But I salute his courage, but whatever I take for him to, as his lawyer, have left the cup to any other team. To me, I commend his courage and I commend his patriotism. And I hope that every other player can also be able to show this skill. But if somebody, because there's nothing, you know what I'm saying, there's nowhere like there's no anywhere like home. No matter how long the contract he has with the Al Shabab, no matter how long it takes, Ghana will still come back to this country, and he knows that he still needs the service of this country. So, and for anything to hinge on his relationship with the country, he has to settle it out, and that's the problem for him, and that's what he has done. So I commended his patriotism.
Now, looking at his absence at the AFCON and all that transpired, we were clearly short of strikers up front, short of someone you call a leader leading up front. Looking at how we exited that competition, now do you think if he was in that competition, he would have been able to make some sort of difference? Because clearly in that attack line, we lacked a leader, and that's the truth of the matter.
Yes, well, I don't want to say that the players who represented us in the attacking line
No, they were good
were
enough.
not good enough,
They were good enough.
or they were not they didn't put in their best.
Mm.
To me, the people doing their best, the best you can do, but you can't rule out experience.
Yeah.
Ighalo is an experienced striker,
Highest goal scorer at the last AFCON.
and at the same time, if you're looking at the attacking line operated, apart from
Only
apart from Samuel Chukwueze, who played at the last AFCON, none of the attacking line, all the even Iheanacho was not at the last
He
AFCON.
wasn't, yeah.
Was not at the last AFCON. So all of them were played in AFCON for the first time.
Mm.
So you can say, okay, that
Experience
the experience that
was
was missing. So I would have believed, okay, maybe if Ighalo could have been there, his experience, and most importantly, that he already has a name
Exactly.
when it comes to AFCON history.
Yeah.
Being a
So
top,
that fear would have even been
so
there.
being a top striker at the previous AFCON,
Mhm.
so people wanted to see him. This is a top striker at the last AFCON. So definitely, and that expectation, you know, that
Definitely.
there's a huge expectation on him being a last season last time top striker. You can't come here to not just perform, because everybody will look up to you. Everybody defender will look up to you. So maybe I could have said let. He may not have. You may say that he may not have the speed or have the strength. He have those
But
young
still
guys
has
have,
an eye for
but he
goal.
has an eyes and he has an experience for goal.
Not forgetting that in his first game for Al Hilal, he actually scored in his first game since moving to Al Hilal. So you can't rule out experience and the fact that he's a goal scorer. He's a goal
But
scorer.
more importantly, like most of the goal Sadiq Omar means, I don't think if Ighalo is in that camp position and in that critical time, you will know the decision to make not to do such a goal.
All right, still because we have so much more coming for you. We have Aaron is also in the news. He has moved up the ITTF ranking, moved up a couple of steps higher from where he was last season. There's more transfer news, and of course, Tunisia is also in the news. Their coach, I think, has been sacked due to their inability to uh, go further after the quarterfinal. But that and so much more we'll give to you once we come back from this break. Don't go nowhere.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Welcome back from that short break. Still on to Sports Orbit from the Leadership Podcast Studio. Now, on to table tennis, where the NTTF has congratulated Oren Okodri for his latest record-breaking ranking for an African player. Recall that Quadri was the last ranking, he was 14, but he has moved up 3 places to be the 11th top-ranked player in Africa. I mean, Arnold Quadri keeps doing
in the world.
in the world. Sorry, I mean number one in Africa, 11 in the world. Arnold Quadri keeps making us proud when it comes to tennis, doing big things. But what a lot of people will still want to, refer to as a not something he needs to jinx is his performance at the Olympics. Not just the Olympics, but at this point, a lot of Nigerian table tennis fans will expect that, given Aaron Quadri's statue in world table tennis, at this point he should have been able to at least have an Olympic medal, be it gold, silver, or bronze. But he should have had a medal by now.
Well, sport, just like you say, sport is all about performance and it's all about what we will be able to do within the table in the case of table tennis. But at the same time, there's something people have to understand. In sport, you also need element of luck to succeed. Sport we see go beyond what you see on the pitch, what you see on the court, or what you see on the table. On the table, there are some psychological that has to go with it, and at the same time, Aruna Kodri, when he's playing for his club, I believe if you watch this ranking is coming up based on his performance for the club.
Actually,
Yeah. Not based on his performance for the country.
Of course.
But if you're talking about in the country, in the club he play, he has everything that needed for him to focus. But when coming to the country to play for the country, is there the enabling situation is being provided for him to allow him to focus? You say no. So that to me, the country needs aside. Like thank God, the tennis federations are commending him, eulogizing him, thanking him that for the achievement and all those and assuring that they're going to support. So those assurance that are giving support should not be just by word or on paper. It should come in a really concrete time and in really concrete time in physical let everybody see. Because in a situation where a player has to go all out on his own account to present the country, it doesn't go well. You need to know. I'm sorry to say this: our players, our athletes, they pass through a lot of things when coming to represent the country. And that if Olympic performance is by club representative, I'm sure African country will have get the medal by now. But because you have to represent the country, and your country has to make all the necessary tools and the enabling environment for it to stay focused. So, but sometimes for instance now, if you are, for instance, the other day we were complaining that the basketball went to the Olympics without winning the match. Okay, in a situation when there's rancor and rampling within the federation you are representing, how will you be able to focus? We saw the same thing in athletics when almost 10 athletes were disqualified from competing. So, to me, Aruna currently be a number level in the world if he's just like you say, if he's to represent the club at the Olympics, he would have won a medal. But he has to, because you have to represent the country, but there's some enabling environment that has to be provided aside his own performance on the pitch. But he go beyond what you can do on the table. So, but for me, I congratulate him. It's a very big achievement. And at the same time, one thing even sometimes I like to tell some of the colleagues that, like in the last AFCON, sorry, the ongoing AFCON where we registered at the round of 16, and people were saying that, okay, why should Nigeria register out of this after so much? And I tell one of the people, I said, no, apart from sport, sometimes people should even commend those who are in sport. Apart from sport, what other sector will you say Nigeria compete? Can compete with the whole of the world. Now, having a colleague is number 11 in the world. Tell me, apart from the other sector, which other sector will you mention that Nigeria is ranking number 11? No. It's number 1 in Africa. Which other sector will you mention that Nigeria is number 1 in Africa? Apart from sport, it's only in sport that you can that so people should also commend the sport, and we need to invest more in sport. So the private sector and should invest more in the sport development, because it's only sport that you see that Nigeria flag is raising high at the international scene. Apart from sport, there's no anywhere where you can go outside or raising Nigeria, except some few Nigerians who are into artists and all artists and so on.
Right.
And education. So even in Nigeria's athletes and Nigerian sport should be commended for people to raise the bar and people to raise the Nigerian name at the international scene. So that's not called the congratulations for what he has done for the country. And I think that anytime you mention Anakoli, his name will be attributed to Nigeria and the credit goes to Nigeria.
Right away from that and on to AFCON, and this is from the camp of the Tunisian national team, the Carthage Eagles actually have sacked their coach, Monde Kabir, following the team's exit from the 2021 AFCON. The TFF announced the decision after the Carthage Eagles' elimination from the AFCON. In their opinion, they felt, I don't know what targets was given to him for the AFCON, but for me, I felt Tunisia should be happy that they even got to the quarterfinal because truly speaking, looking at their performance at this AFCON, I don't think the Tunisian side, with due respect to them, were a very fantastic side. You know, beating Nigeria made some people begin to look at them like, okay, they can beat this Nigerian team. But when you watch their quarterfinal game, I didn't see anything spectacular in the Tunisian side.
And let me go to that. And that's the more reason they have to check this old man, this one. Because and no thanks for the Kobe that knocked him down against Nigeria. Remember, he was not the coach. He was assistant coach that gathered the team against Nigeria, and he was able to get a bit on them. So the Tunisia Football Federation now feel that how's what your assistant is even better than you. Because they watch how the team play at the group stage with him on the stand and the team struggle in the group stage.
And when he was absent,
in his absence, no thanks to the Kobe that knocked him down.
And when he came back,
and they get a better result against Nigeria, against almighty Nigerians. But and when he came back
for the
quarter final
he lost
against Burkina Faso, he lost the match. So they now feel that now they have installed the assistant coach as a substantive coach. Because they now feel that the assistant coach is better, and he believing that they forget that coaching is a teamwork. But to them, his presence does not allow the assistant to make impact. So if you do, that's what they have to. We have what we are looking for. We'll find in your assistant. So you have to give way for your assistant.
His assistant, General Kadri, will take charge of the World Cup playoffs against Mali in March. I mean,
the same Mali they also
struggled the same Mali they also struggled against, because a lot of people said against Burkina Faso they looked like a very, very ordinary side, and people were beginning to wonder, how is this the same Tunisia that beat Nigeria? That the chances were even few and far in between. And one thing in football is, sometimes when you're coming against an opponent who you feel is bigger than you, the way you prepare is different.
It's different.
We see this time and time again, even in the European League. Sometimes a relegation threatening club, when they're about to play maybe a United or a Man City or an Arsenal or a Chelsea, you see them come out guns blazing. But by the time they are playing their mates, it becomes terrible. So sometimes football can be really very, very funny.
Because even on a local palace, for instance, if you see a very mighty person, you want to say, okay, I'm going to fight with you. But when I see your side, you are very good. I say, this is how I beat with that, and I have to put more effort for me to get on you. But if you see somebody who is really, this one, if you mess with, I'll slap you. Because you feel like you have all energy, I have all this to beat him, but you may be surprised that young man will beat you. So that is what it's also. Fight is also a game, and that's what we see in football. But when you just like see, when you feel that if this person has what it takes better than you, they have all the take better than you, so you try to put more energy, so you like more extra effort to be able to match him, and in the process, God on your side, you get your match. But when you see that somebody you are better off than this person, you can beat this person, so you a bit relaxed, and that's what we call complacency. So you feel a bit relaxed, and at the end of the day, it may come back to haunt you.
Exactly. All right, away from that and on to transfer news. As we all are aware, the transfer window closed last night, and Nigerian forward actually, Simeon Wanko, has gotten moved from Salernitana to Parma on a 6-month loan deal. The 29-year-old moved at the beginning of the current campaign, but scored 1 goal in 19 league appearances for Salernitana. Parma are languishing in the half of the Serie B, and the addition of the striker could help them salvage the season. In fact, at the point, he seemed like a forgotten player. I'm even surprised that he's even up to 29. But I remember when he first came into the scene, there was so much promises for him, so much expectation. A very tall striker, has the presence and all of that. But going forward, I mean, he hasn't quite lived up to those expectations. And looking at his age, he's 29 already. Do you still see him having a future in the national team, for instance?
Well, I'm not the coach, but I think I believe the power will give him opportunity for him to be able to revive his career, because his career is at the moment is doing.
Well, of course, because 1 goal in 19 appearances for his striker is bad.
Even a defender, exactly. A defender has 1 goal in his appearance, does not even count well for the defender. Not to talk of the point man, the striker who's supposed to go back in every match. And score at least average of 1 goal per match, but unfortunately play 90 games, only money to score a goal. Well, we may not know, maybe there are some factors that may have contributed to his underperformance, but I hope that I pray for him that he should be able to revive his career at the power, because he now has another opportunity to revive his career. And hopefully, if you cannot say it's over for him in the national team, he still have a chance if he be able to redeem his way. Although at 29, I think he's gradually edging out, but he has to put more effort. And if you feel on him, he should sit down, assess himself. What might account for this problem? Osman have been able to assess it, and if you be able to find the fault, you should be able to discount most of those for that is hinder his performance.
All right, still on to transfer where Christian Eriksen has signed for Brentford until the end of the season. Recall that Christian Eriksen was that player who had that near-death experience during the Euro 2020, and luckily for him, the medics did a good job of trying to actually reviving him, and due to that, he's been out of football for a while. And going back to Inter, there's this policy they have in Italy. Once you have some heart issues, they don't even want to know. Like once you have some certain heart issues, you are totally banned from taking part in any sort of competitive football. And that was the situation he had with Inter. After he got better, went back to Inter, and Inter said, "Look, here in Italy, this is how we operate." Same thing affect to Kano, because even the Kano situation, if he was in other leagues, he would have been able to play. But in Italy, they've maintained that policy for a while. Once you have some level of heart problems, they don't even want to take any risk. Even if you've gone for treatment and come back, they rather release you from your contract. Just go in your own way so that we don't have any casualty on our hands. But thankfully, Brentford has come to the rescue, giving him a contract to see if he can at least revive his career till the end of the season, and maybe he can kick on from there.
Thank God for Christian Eriksen, and I'm sure everybody is thanking God for his life, because nobody expected him. Just a nearly gone, but he was able to thank God for
a fantastic player.
Fantastic player indeed for the Denmark, and thank God for him. The man was able, and we were able to revive his career, put him back, and now nobody thought that Eriksen would talk about football again.
Yeah.
But fortunately for him, here we are. He still want to forge ahead his career. So I hope the Brentford have given opportunities, and wish him well, and he is fully welcome to the England. And you can even see that a lot of Englishman are celebrating he's coming back to the England.
Yeah.
So congratulations. We hope that we'll be able to revive his career that was almost terminated.
First, the 29-year-old had to pass a series of medical assessments to ensure he is fit to play after being fitted with an internal defibrillator as a result of the cardiac arrest. We wish him well and hope that this will, because he's just 29 years old, we hope that this will be, like a second phase of his career at 29. He still has some good years of football.
Still like 4 or 5 years.
Exactly, he can still be useful to the Denmark national side. And who knows, maybe if he performs well and stays fit, maybe he might have the opportunity of making another final move before he call it cutting on his career. Anyway, that's for everything, and for Sports Orbit, this is where we also draw the curtain on today's episode. Just to remind you that the semi-finals of the 2021 AFCON will begin tomorrow. I'll be here to give you analysis, previews, and hopefully we'll have a special guest also in the house tomorrow to be with us to give you a preview of the semi-final games and a general review of the AFCON so far. So, Sanfu, once again, thank you for being in the studio with me today.
Thank you, it's my pleasure always.
Until come your way again tomorrow with another exciting episode of Sports Orbit, I remain your host, Afa Chuanis. Goodbye from here.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.